friends, welcome back to week 11, cycle 2. I wasn't here last week because I had to have a substitute for my class because my kids were sick. So I didn't prepare anything, so I'm not sharing anything. Maybe in the future I might make a video just to have like my full collection on here, but whenever I've said that in the past, I've never gone back and done it, so I'm not going to make any promises. But it was good to be back this week. I kept it pretty simple, didn't bring in a lot of like accessories. One, my printer wasn't working, and two, I was just tired from taking care of sick kids. So I'm gonna share what we did. First, I'll go over what we did for new grammar, and then I'll share what we did for review. So we start off with geography because I have the maps already laid out for the kids when we get into the class. First, we located all the places on the map. We used the European map, but I talked to the kids about how Russia goes into the gray part where Siberia is, and how it's really a lot bigger on a world map. So we located all the locations and said them 3 times, so Russia, 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 and so on. And then we used a song that I got from, I believe it's called Happy Learning here on YouTube, which was really fun because it's to a tune from the Nutcracker, and my family and my daughter especially loves the Nutcracker, so that's what I chose to do today. So I'm going to sing it, but I don't think I do a great job at singing it, so you want to go check out the original video. We made it a little more fun by using our fingers as Russian dancers, and so we went to the different locations on the map as Russian dancers as we sang through the song, because Happy Learning says it's to a tune called Russian Dancers, or maybe it's the Russian Dancers part in the Nutcracker. I'm not exactly sure, but anyway, it was a lot of fun. So it goes like this. Europe and Asia divide Russia, and the Ural Mountains act as the border. Moscow is the capital, located in Europe. Siberia is a region located in Asia. Kiev is a capital located in Ukraine. Europe and Asia divide Russia. 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 So that last part was fun to say fast. We also talked about how in Siberia is a tundra, so we kind of reviewed that, where we had learned about a tundra earlier in the year. So I mentioned that as well. Next we did timeline. Because I have the littler kids, we do snack during this time. So they get out their snack, and I go around and show them the cards and say the name on the card, and then they repeat after me. I set the cards up on the board in order, and then they take turns coming up to the board and using a pointer. They come up in pairs and point to the cards as I play the song on the speaker. After that, I divided them into 2 different groups, and they took turns coming up as a group. I mixed up the cards on the board, and they had to put them back in order. Today I had a few of the younger students together, and there was some fighting over the cards when we were doing that activity, which I did not anticipate, so I just wanted to tell you about that in case you have the younger kids. This might be kind of like a team building activity as well, like learning how to work with other people. So just keep that in mind if you have like all 4-year-olds in your class. Next we did science. There was 2 different hand motions we could have used. I chose the one that I made up, but I'll share them both with you so you can use them. Whichever one makes more sense to you. For new moon, our fist represented the moon and our hand represented the shadow on the moon, or like the night sky. I told the kids the night sky, but you do this for new moon because it's all black. And then for crescent moon, you just reveal 1 finger. Quarter moon, you reveal 2 fingers, or as the kids pointed out, it's really 3 fingers if you include your thumb. Then the gibbous moon and the new moon, the full moon. Or for the full moon, you can just take your hand all the way away. The ones I had seen on other people's videos, which I did like, were the new moon, you could go like this for the new moon, and then you would do crescent, quarter, gibbous, full. I made up a song to this science memory work this week. There was a lot of good songs out there, but they all kind of went like a little bit too fast, and this one just popped in my head, so that's what we did. It's to the tune of I think it's called Blue Moon. It's like an oldies song. It's kind of low, so I'm gonna try and sing it again. New moon, crescent, quarter, gibbous, full moon. These are the phases of the moon. Yeah, so we did that and sang the song 3 times. I had planned for us to then review that memory work, like just say the names without the song 3 times, doing the volcano voice and also the volcano motion. So you would start at the very bottom and say new moon, quiet, and then crescent, quarter, gibbous, full moon. You jump up and say the last part really loud. After that, we did English. We're doing this to the tune of Oh My Darling, Clementine. I'll link the song that I'm using in the description. So first I said the words and had the kids repeat after me, and then I taught them this part of the song. And after that, we sang the song a few times and did different activities to the song. So first we walked around the table like robots, then we waddled around the table like penguins, and then we galloped around like horses. This week's history sentence might feel a little weird for some parents and tutors. What I decided to do in my class was I showed the French Revolution card, timeline card, and went over the things in the picture that were in the history sentence. So we learned about the citizens, so I pointed out to these people in the crowd and said these are the citizens. For the aristocrats, you can see there's an aristocrat here by the guillotine, and then this is the guillotine. So when I showed the kids the timeline card, I pointed out those 3 things. If they had any further questions about what was going on in the history sentence, I told them they could ask their parents when they got home. And that's a really useful tool. Like if you ever have a question that might take too long to answer in class, or a question that you don't feel comfortable answering, or you're not sure how the child's parent would want you to answer it, just tell them to ask their mom when they get home. So here's what we did for the hand motions. First of all, we marched through the whole song. So if ever there was a time we weren't doing a hand motion, we were marching. For 1789, we did 789. 1789. We practiced that a few times. French Revolution, stormed the Bastille, we ran in place. Fought, we jumped and put our fists up in the air. The Declaration of the Rights of Man, we opened up a scroll and showed the class. Reign of Terror. For aristocrats, we put our hands on our hips and looked around. Heads were removed. And guillotine. For Latin, we used our last cue card for future perfect. And this is an arrow, and the first ending in it is arrow. So I talked about how you can shoot your arrow into the future, and in the future there'll be a new heaven and a new earth, and it will be perfect. So that's a way you can remember it. So first I had the children repeat after me as I read the endings off the board. Then we sang the song. When we did the singular endings, we conducted with 1 finger. And when we did the plural endings, we conducted with 2 fingers. And then at the end of the song, because it was to the tune of Happy Birthday, we blew out our candles. And that was pretty fun for the kids. And then the last thing we did today was math. We're doing the cubes. This is the last of our number memorizing songs. So I wanted to make it fun. Sometimes it can feel like the same old thing each week when you're just singing math songs. First, we went over the numbers. I had the kids repeat after me. These numbers were really big, so I wanted to make sure they could say them. When we got to 1,000, I said, 1,000! And we did the higher numbers in kind of like a funny voice. So then I set up an obstacle course in the room for us to do while we listened to the song. So you can use whatever you have available to you in your class. I brought in this tunnel. So I set this up so the kids had to crawl through the tunnel. When they got out of the tunnel, they galloped like horses around the table, and then they got to an area where I had set out some carpet squares. The church where we meet had some carpet squares, so I put those out, and when they got on each carpet square, they had to do jumping jacks, or we call them sea stars because we did sea stars last year where you just jump with your arms and legs out. And then they got back in the tunnel and just kept going around and around until the song was done. So some other ideas are maybe you could use the chair in the room if you trust the kids to like stand up on a chair and jump off, or maybe crawling under a desk. So there's a lot of different things you could do if you think creatively. So for review today, we tried a new game. First, before we did the game though, I just reviewed this week's new grammar. So I think I want to start doing that, where we review this week's new grammar before we go into the game, just to make sure we get that reviewed. So in my bag here, I had the last 6 weeks worth of memory work from the memory work flashcards from Classical Conversations online bookstore. We divided into teams. We had the kids versus the parents. So I wrote kids and parents up on the board and we were keeping score. And the children took turns picking out the memory work. So the first child picked out the memory work and it was the kid's turn to answer. If they got it right, they got a point. Then the next student picked the next memory work, but this one was for the parents to do. And if the parents couldn't remember it, it was the kids' jobs to help us and correct us to get the memory work right. So of course the parents never could get the memory work right. The kids had to correct us on all of it and they won the game. But it was great fun. It's something I've just picked up from some curriculums I'm using at home with my daughter, different ways to play with her to make the learning fun. One of the ways is pretend like you don't know the answer and have her teach you. So that was fun. We had a great week. I'm so glad we came back. Next week we have off for Thanksgiving, so I won't do my next video for another few weeks. And then after that, we're off like all December. So I'll see you again in a few weeks, and I hope you have a good week 11.